Lovecraft Cocktails, episode 57, The Missing Episode. Why is this the missing episode? It's the missing episode because I went to see what we did last year. And I was like, okay, so we'll do a riff on whatever it is that we did last year. We didn't do one during this weekend last year. So the weekend after Mother's Day, for whatever reason, we took a break. We didn't do a broadcast. So I don't know. I have no idea why we didn't do one. That made it really hard to riff off of last year. So that's why we were a little late posting some recipes and that sort of thing. So, but I mean, we're good. We're ready to go. We're ready to rock. We got the incense burning. We got lights going. Dave Heinzen. Yep. Excellent.
Chris is still cocktailing.
Good. Dave will, of course, clue us in as to what cocktails they are having once Chris lets him know what cocktails they are having. We do have a studio guest this evening. Phil is joining us for drinks this evening, and at his request, we will be doing a reprise of a drink that we did for the virtual Halloween party, because I was not going an entire year without hosting some form of Tiki event. So, right, we did a virtual Halloween party last October where I made drinks, people came by, picked them up, and then in the evening, we all hopped on a Zoom session and chatted with each other. And I'm not so sure how well the Zoom session went over, but the drinks seemed to be good. So we'll be doing one of the drinks from that. We're going to start this evening with one of my favorites from Smuggler's Cove, which is a light and refreshing drink based on guava soda. So that we'll start with that because it's been kind of warmish out, and then it of course rained and cooled, and so my plans were blown out the water. But we'll still do it, which harkens us back to when I first started doing these sessions. One of the things I was going to do was go through the various drinks that I had done at parties in the past. Well, the Agricole Guava Cooler happens to be one of the cocktails that I did at the very first. I gotcha. I see you, Star.
Okay.
At the very first Tiki party that we ever hosted here. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to follow it up with a drink that at least for a while became the house drink around here, which is a drink that we lovingly called Pirate Tink, because using the full name for the character that it's based on would get us in trouble with a corporate entity that likes to sue people and have cease and desist orders. We love them, but we don't want them to come to our attention or us to come to their attention. That's what we don't want, right? Yeah. So Pirate Tink, which is uses absinthe as its base, hence the green fairy. You can fill in things from there. Pirate-based drink using absinthe, right? Okay, but first, we don't start this by making cocktails. We start this by toasting.
Toast!
A toast. Okay, Phil has a daughter who is in Guatemala at the moment, or is that correct?
That's right.
So we thought, well, what better thing to do than to toast with a Guatemalan rum? And we happen to have a reasonably nice Guatemalan rum. So I thought we would break this out because we basically haven't since we got it. So there's a little dust on the top of this. Yeah, so this is the Zacapa Centenario. Right? Okay, you can do this. Ron Zacapa Centenario XO. So we are going to open this up, and like all of the other Zacapas, near as I can tell, this is a Solera style rum. So they're blending rums from a variety of different ages together in order to get this. So there's not a singular age statement on this. So, opened up the case, a nice and pretty case. So here's the bottle. How is that? Is that not gorgeous?
I think it's gorgeous.
That is gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, while being gorgeous, it makes it really inconvenient to pour. So what we're going to try and do is stick a speed pourer in that and see how that will work. It's not a hugely tight fit, but I can get my hand around it and hold the speed pourer in. So I think that will be better. What I don't want to do is, accidentally dump expensive hooch all over the table here. So we're going to do 3 little tasting glasses here. Tasting glasses supplied from Cotton and Reed. You can't read that at all. You can't read that at all. Here we go. Okay, so a quick trick. If you are selling glassware online and it's got some sort of insignia on it, if it is, that won't work either. Wow. Oh my gosh. Usually what you can do is just shove like a white paper towel or something into the glass, and the etching on it will show up. But if the etching is all in white, that doesn't work. So you would have to have something that's a different color. I wonder if I can do this. Let's see if this will work. This is blue. Maybe it'll show up that way. All this trouble just to show you that it actually says cotton and reed on the glass, which I still don't think you're going to be able to see. Can you see that it says cotton and reed? You cannot. Nope, not at all. It says Cotton and Reed right there. Okay, so Cotton and Reed is a distiller in the district. They make really good rums, and they just won an award recently at San Francisco Spirit Festival, I
I
think,
think so.
for one of their rums. I think it was just their baseline white rum, if I remember right. I really like their Navy Strength rums. In particular, I like their Navy Strength rum mixed just with grapefruit soda, which is sort of a variation on a Smuggler's Cove drink called the Ray and Ting, which is usually Ray and Nephew white overproof rum and Ting grapefruit soda. So I like Bundaberg grapefruit soda and Cotton and Reed's Navy Strength rum mixed together. Makes a fine, refreshing drink. But we're not going to do that tonight.
So
Okay.
we have some comments.
We have comments.
Yes. Ruth says hello.
Already we have comments? Okay. Yes.
Actually, Ruth says greetings.
Greetings.
Sorry.
Greetings, Ruth.
We've got a Greg Terry.
Hi, Greg. Greg, who joined Facebook so that he could be with us tonight. Love
Dave
you, Greg.
says the drink is pink and has raspberries floating on top.
Okay. That could be any number of
Wait,
things.
oh, Chris says tonight's drink is raspberry pineapple rum punch.
Sure, that'll work.
Dave is sipping through a bump bump bump
Surfside
Surfside
sips.
sip.
How about this? Can you
straw.
can you see that now? Can you see the etching on that glass? Not really. The black doesn't work either. So, all right. Well, we'll figure out a way. I thought I was going to be cool and give you a tip on how to photograph your glassware. Turns out I'm just wrong.
And Surfside Sips is a 20% discount code Lovecraft.
Right. So all caps LOVECRAFT on the Surfside Sips site will get you a 20% discount. We get a minor little. We get some money back so that we can purchase. So that we can purchase more Surfside Sip straws.
Yeah.
All right.
Should I
So
come back there?
Yeah, come
Sure.
on back.
if you want to be on camera, sure. If
Oh,
you don't want to
yeah.
be on camera,
Ah.
then-
Oh yeah,
So
that's right. This is the toast.
yeah, so Phil is my best friend-in-law. It's one of my best friend's husband's best friend. So I think that makes you best friend-in-law, right?
I think that works.
Is that how that
Yeah,
works?
right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So to your daughter,
Mm,
your
who is
daughter.
in Guatemala.
nice aroma.
To
Let me tell you,
Guatemala.
to Guatemala.
Oh, that is nice.
Mm.
Very nice.
So
Oh,
if I've learned anything about tasting any kind of spirit is that you will get a very different taste the second taste you have of it. So the first taste kind of sets the palate. Second taste, really you can start to bring out flavors from it. And then if you set it aside, especially if this is a freshly opened bottle, if you set it aside for 5 or 10 minutes
yeah.
and come back to it, you'll have a completely different character to it because it's now got a chance to breathe a little bit. Just the same principle as like aerating a red wine.
Gotcha.
Just let a little oxygen get to it. So you see me swirling it, that sort of thing. Stick the nose in it.
That's nice. Very caramely, very
Sweet.
not overly
Okay.
sweet.
All right. Mhm.
But that kind of burnt caramel flavoring.
There's a. What is
Yeah,
that
feel
now?
it.
What is
But
that?
the vanilla and the caramel and those kind of
I was thinking
Deep
of
blend.
Grand Marnier with only like more, like you say, burnt, like a
Yeah.
burnt kind of a. And
Yeah,
I do enjoy
there's
a Grand Marnier.
certainly an orange
yeah.
component to this, right? Like almost an orange peel.
Yeah,
element
now
on the
that you
nose.
now that you mention it, yes,
Huh? Yummy stuff.
it is.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
It is 40%, so it's. I mean, it is easy drinking at 40%. This is minimum percentage to be called rum in the U.S. My understanding is that Zacapa may do some dosage at the end, so that's you're probably getting a little more sweetness than you would get from some other rums. But no, this goes down really
Very
nicely,
nice.
really smooth.
Very nice.
I mean, I sort of get the connection there. Okay, so here's your Here's your box.
That's
Right?
perfect.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Very nice.
Yeah, that's a.
And we decided we'd pick that up in Canada.
I think we did. I think this. Yeah. Oh, the other aspect of the Zacapa is that these rums aren't made from molasses. They're made from cane sugar. So, which I think, excuse me, I'm sorry, they're made from cane.
Juice.
What they call is cane honey or cane
right.
cane syrup,
Right.
right? So it's the sugar cane juice that's been reduced, but no sugar has been removed from it yet.
Mm.
Whereas molasses, of course, is what is left over after you've removed a good portion of the sugar from the sugar cane juice. All right, Ron Zacapa, Centenario. That's
I'm learning a lot about alcohol.
that's tasty.
I'm letting
That's-
it sit there as you had suggested, because well,
Yeah,
we'll see
I
what
get-
happens.
a little different nose just sitting there for like 30 seconds. My imagination, but
That is amazing.
a little, there's a woody aspect to it on the nose after it sits a little bit.
That might be the incense.
I was thinking leather, and that's what the incense is, but it's not quite right for leather. But that's tasty. All right. I did notice, looking back over some of the previous broadcasts, that I spend an inordinate amount of time doing the introduction and going through the toast. And it's usually like 20 or 30 minutes in before I ever start talking about the first cocktail. So maybe I should start a little early on the first cocktail. And that's going to be the Agricole Guava Cooler. We're going to do 3 of these. They are a light and refreshing drink. And so we're going to do one for each of us, as opposed to doing some massively high octane cocktail where if I did one for each of us, by the time we got to the end of this broadcast, we'd be like, hi, we're going to end the broadcast now. And we don't want that. We want to be articulate and enjoying what we're drinking. So, all right, the Agricole Guava Cooler. This starts very differently than most cocktails. So we are going to start with 3 glasses. And the first thing that's going to happen is that we are going to take the soda, and instead of topping the drink off with the soda, we are going to put the soda in the glass, and then we're going to do a shake, and then we're going to pour what has been shaken in over the soda in order to combine it that way. So just a little different way of doing it. You can't, there's no real way to shake something that has a carbonated beverage in it. I mean, it's like, boom, that's not good. So this is just a different way of getting the carbonated beverage mixed in with the non-carbonated elements, as opposed to just topping it off where you get this sort of this weird layered effect, which you may not want. All right, so what are we going to do? We need 2 ounces of a good high quality guava soda, and I believe Smuggler's Cove uses Bundaberg, and that's what I use when I can find Bundaberg guava soda. I get it. I have had trouble getting, I don't think we've had trouble getting the guava. It's the grapefruit that we can't get.
Cannot find.
Which, you know, if you happen to like find some Bundaberg grapefruit soda lying around somewhere, let me know. Better yet, just ship it to me. All right, Bundaberg. I'm going to go 2 ounces in each one of these glasses. Other problem with carbonated beverages, they of course foam like mad. Okay, so come on. Bubbles go away. All right, there we go. And if I actually pour slowly down the edge of this, then I don't get nearly as much foam, which is much better. But of course, I always forget to do that on the first pour. So what are we listening to this evening, hon?
That's what I was wondering. Sounds really nice.
This is Martin Denny.
Martin Denny, one of the godfathers of exotica,
Yeah.
style of jazz, made popular pretty much at the height of the Tiki movement, which it's a natural made in I don't know, made in heaven?
This is from Exotica, the best of Martin Denny.
Well, that works. See, my usual tiki mix involves a bunch of Exotica, a little bit of some swing music, things like sway and various other kinds of associated things, and some surf music. And I think we just switched over to some surf music. Is this Insect Surfers? Or is this
Yep,
Merman?
This is Insect Surfers.
Insect Surfers. Which I discovered the Insect Surfers really recently, which is kind of sad because they've been around forever. So I'm now starting to build up my catalog of Insect Surfer albums. All right, so we have 2 ounces Bundaberg Guava soda in each one of these glasses. And that's not it, obviously, for the cocktail. There's no lime, there's no rum. So obviously we've got to do something about this. So we're going to do 3 of these. We're going to do them all in a single shaker. So we need 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice for each one of these. So I have to go find my lime. We could do math. 3/4 of an ounce and 3/4 of an ounce is 1.5 ounces. Add another 3/4 of an ounce and we have 2 1/4 ounces.
Sounds right.
That sounds right. Math. Math is good. All right, so there's 2 ounces freshly squeezed lime juice. And then 1/4 ounce. This jigger happens to be marked for 1/4 ounce. Not all of them are. And so if you were doing something like this, you could just more easily just do 3 drops at 3/4 of an ounce and be done. I mean, it's one more pour. It's not that big a deal. Then we need liquor 43. So liquor 43 is a Spanish liqueur. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. The closest things that I can think of are some of things like Benedictine or Chartreuse, but they're more herbal in nature. This has some herbal components to it, but I think there's a little more, not really earthiness. It's hard to describe. I mean, how this is different. I mean, it certainly has the botanical elements, but there's, I guess, some like stone fruit elements to it as well. I discovered this because I was chatting with a bartender, and I said, "Hey Nate, yeah, it's Nate. Hey Nate, what's that bottle on the bar?" And he said, "Oh, that's liquor 43." And I went, "Ah." And the next thing I know, I had a shot glass of liquor 43 in front of me, and I've had a bottle of liquor 43 on my bar ever since because it's good stuff. All right, same thing. We need 3/4 of an ounce of liquor 43 for each one of these. So that's going to be 2 1/4. Or if you over pour and miss that 1/4 ounce mark, there, you can do that. 3/4, 3/4. Oh, so I just learned something. So if I was going to do a pour like I did originally, where I did the 2 1/4 ounce pour, what I did was I did the 2 ounces first, and then I did the 1/4 ounce pour. You're like, okay, well, that's fine. Why would it be any different if you did the 1/4 ounce and then the 2 ounce pour? Well, if you overshoot with the 1/4 ounce pour and you've already added 2 ounces, now you're stuck with, what do I do with the overflow from this? What do I do with it? But if you just do the 1/4 ounce first, then if you overflow like I did, I could just change in midstream and decide to go, oh, I'll just do 3/4 of an ounce, 3/4 of an ounce, 3/4 of an ounce. See, there's a way of correcting there by if you start with the smaller amount. Okay, that makes sense. 2 ounces of rum Agricole. So, and an aged rum Agricole. There are an awful lot of choices for rum Agricoles. If you tuned in previously or just know something about rum, you know that rum Agricole is made directly from cane juice. So what is fermented is pure cane juice. So the cane gets cut, gets shipped directly to the pressers. They press it, and then they start fermenting that. You can't wait because then the cane will start to go bad on you. So you've got to do it pretty quick. So this rum in general, rum agricoles tend to be a little more pricey, and they have a much stronger grassy terroir sort of note to them. They're very different from any of your molasses style rums, and also, strangely enough, kind of different from your cane syrup rums as well. It's a little surprising how different they are. Clement makes some excellent rum agricoles. My current favorite is La Favorite, but I also have trouble getting La Favorite, and I don't have too much trouble getting the Duquesne. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Duquesne. Duquesne is not, I don't think it's brilliant, but it is brilliant as a mixing agricole. So I would not sit down and sip this as a general rule, but it is lovely for mixing cocktails. So we're going to do, it is 2 ounces of rum agricole per each drink. So I need 6 ounces of the rum agricole. So we're going to go 6 ounces Duquesne. I'm still vastly amused at having walked into a tiki bar and I was seeing Duquesne rum, not for the first time, but pretty close to the first time. And I asked about it. And the lovely bartendress that was trying so hard to make the transition from the tiki bar, from the tequila bar that they had been, to a tiki bar, said something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, that's a great rum, the Duquesne rums." I'm like, no. I didn't remember exactly how it was pronounced, but I knew that was wrong. Like, okay.
In Poughkeepsie.
In Poughkeepsie, New York, yes. Sadly, that bar is no longer there, unfortunately. Let's see, what else goes in here? So we've got the guava soda waiting for us. We've got the liquor 43. We've got the aged agricole, Angostura bitters. See, we need some aromatic bitters here. Now, you could play around and go with different bitters for this cocktail, but as long as I am making a Smuggler's Cove recipe and I'm using the Smuggler's Cove recommended Bundaberg guava soda, why mix? Why potentially ruin a good thing, right? So we're going to go ahead and go with Angostura bitters. Why does this not look like a normal bottle of Angostura bitters? Because I go through bottles of Angostura bitters, so I just take my big bottle and I fill up a small dasher with it instead. So this is an important point. So important for cocktail nerds. This is an important point. So if you get the small bottle of Angostura, something that looks, kind of like this size, right? Well, it's roughly the same size here, and you're probably going to get about the same dash out of that. If you get the large bottle of Angostura, a dash from that bottle is 2.5 times the dash you will get from here. Your drinks will be a little stronger flavored with the Angostura if you're dashing from the big bottle. So I like to switch over to the smaller bottle and keep my proportions known. So we're going to go 6 total dashes of Angostura in here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. 6 dashes Angostura bitters, which is still not as much Angostura bitters as in a single Trinidad sour. Man, those are insane drinks. Making a drink where the primary alcohol in your drink is a bitter, man, I understand that bartenders love it. So clearly I'm not a professional bartender because it's a hard sell for me. This is not a hard sell for me. This is quite lovely. Coming back, switching focus. I was going to say that this lacks a little on the complexity for me. And about the time I was going to open my mouth and say, it is a little one note. There seems to be, you taste it, you get some really nice, pleasant taste, and then it goes away. And just as I was about to open my mouth, I went, wait, there's another flavor. Wait, there's another flavor. So it does, when you get that second breath over the tongue with this, you do get a little more complexity from it. And I don't have the patience right now to sit there and dissect this and figure out what those flavors are because I'm just enjoying what I'm doing. And this needs to be shaken. So let's do that after I have another sip. Okay, scoop. Need a scoop. We are going to do this over cubed ice. Put some cubed ice in there. Just like that. And then we are going to shake that nice sealed. Once again, we're going to start off slowly. We're going to let the ice cool this down and cool down the oxygen, the atmosphere that's in here, which will create a vacuum. It'll suck these two pieces together so that it holds together better. So, but if you start off really vigorously shaking, you could potentially blow this apart and it gets really messy. And I've done that before.
That's bad.
It's not much fun. You have to leave your guests and go up and change clothes. Or stick around the rest of the evening in sticky clothes, which that's gross. Nice and frosty on the outside. I'm thinking that's good. Ow. Wow. Just pinched my finger between the two mugs, the two shakers. That's painful. That's all right. We'll be good. It'll all be fine. So we're going to strain this into these guys. So I'm going to just put them together, slip that on there. We don't want any of this ice getting in here. We don't want the ice crystals getting in there. Not bad.
Oh, looks yummy.
Nice pink color. Wash lines are pretty good on those. So you do generally want to bring these up to the level of the wash line in the glass. I get just a little hint underneath that. And what I'm going to do is take some of my cubed ice, grab a spoon, like this one, and I'm just going to crack these in there. So I don't want anything quite as small as my crushed ice, but I don't want the big cubes in there either. Why? Aesthetics? Mostly aesthetics. Makes a difference, especially if your ice cubes are particularly gross looking. I have these half moon shaped ice cubes, which are great for shaking, and well, I have an automatic ice machine that produces as much ice as I really ever need. But they're not the most attractive ice cubes because they're not clear and all that sort of thing. But making the, wow, come on. See, here's the problem. When your hand gets wet, the ice cube wants to slip. So here, let me do this. There we go. These tricks that I learn and then I forget because I don't do this constantly. I know. You're thinking, you do this every week. How is that not constantly? I don't know. It's just, it isn't. So just do a line wheel on each one of these. There's one. There's two. Oh, that went a little further down than I wanted it to. Okay, just put it there. That'll work. We are going to do some mint, though, because David's been waiting for this. So we're going to reach in. We're going to grab some mint. Slap some mint around. There's that. I will need some straws for these. I think those would be appropriate. Just a couple of sprigs of mint. Fragrant mint, but I don't have very tall, broad mint leaves. So smack, smack, smack. Stick those in there. And we will send one of these over with Phil, one for Star. I will keep mine. And here you go. There's an
Thank you.
Guava, an
Come
Agricole.
come on screen.
There's an
Bella.
Agricole
here we go.
Guava cooler. So we're going to give these a try.
Sounds
Hope
good.
these are nice and refreshing.
They look nice.
Mm,
Very tasty. I like it.
very light.
Very light. All of the sweetness that's in here is being provided from the Liquor 43 and the Bundaberg soda. That's it. There's no additional syrup or anything. And I think if you added any syrup to this, it would be too
It'd
sweet.
be too sweet.
It's just like it's right on that edge.
Yeah.
You can really taste the grassy note of the rum. It's very different rum.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could, sit on the patio and watch someone mow a lawn while drinking these.
If we had a lawn, that would be easier. But
Yeah.
we don't.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, if I had an estate, and I could
okay.
sit on
Right.
the
looking
veranda.
forward to that day
Yeah.
when we have the estate and you can watch the boy
Mm-hmm.
or girl or they or whatever
Yeah.
mow the lawn. Yes.
Yeah.
Riding mower.
Very
Then
notwithstanding.
we've got some Surfside sip straws.
Absolutely.
I've got a Pride straw. Phil has a bone straw.
It's like a little femur or something, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not thick enough to be a femur, obviously, but maybe
a
on
tiny
a
femur.
tiny femur.
It's a tiny femur.
All right.
I got
So there we go.
a drink close up.
So there's a nice, refreshing, light.
Very nice.
It's sweet, but it is not overly sweet, I don't think.
No, definitely not. Good summer
And-
drink.
Yeah.
It is a very nice drink for experiencing rum agricole as well. You could make this exact same drink with a molasses-based spirit, and it would have a very different character to it. Very, very. And I think the agricole really makes this. You could use an unaged agricole, and it would be brighter and more grassy. I'm not sure that's a good thing. Maybe.
Yeah.
Phil's got to drink up quickly because the next drink is for him. So the next drink is a drink that I based off a drink that I saw on a website we've mentioned numerous times here, which is Kindred Cocktails. And that drink is is it Last Plane to Jakarta? I think is
I think
the
it
name
is.
is The Last Plane to Jakarta. And that has some passion fruit syrup in it, and it's got some rum and some sherry, and it's got a dash or two of I think Lafroig 10 Islay Scotch in it.
Yeah.
None of that works together, except that it kind of does. But I wanted to do a slight variation of that, so I did that for last year's Halloween party. And I renamed the drink the Last Boat Leaving R'lyeh, which R'lyeh is the home of the great elder god Cthulhu, the subject of the short story The Call of Cthulhu, which ends with, well, I assume I'm not spoiling the story for anybody. They're trying to escape by boat. So the last boat leaving R'lyeh before R'lyeh sinks beneath the waves, and they're being pursued by Cthulhu in the waters, and it's a whole thing. So this drink is the Last Boat Leaving R'lyeh, a play off of the last plane to Jakarta. That's right. This is built in not a shaker tin, but a mixing pint like this. So we're going to go ahead and do that now.
Oh, we have a commercial interruption.
Oh no, we have a commercial interruption.
Yes.
I didn't know that
So
we had commercials.
This week,
Oh,
we got to enjoy
crunk cakes.
crunk cakes
What are
from
crunk?
BC.
What are crunk cakes, hon?
They are alcohol, booze-infused cupcakes.
They are boozy.
Yeah. So we had buttery nipple, fat cat, lemon drop, and Aperol spritz.
And what we have left is one Aperol Spritz and the Fat Cat.
And the fat cat.
Now, the Fat Cat we know is going to star because it's beer-based, and yeah, I'm not drinking it. So I have the last Aperol Spritz one. The buttery nipple ones were quite tasty. Yeah, quite
so
tasty.
I will post a link to crunk cakes.
And you'll note there's a sticker on there that says 21 and up. So, yeah, there's alcohol in these, and it's not all cooked out.
Wonderful Faith makes these, and they're good stuff.
Yeah, we met Faith while Faith was behind the bar at a bar that is still going strong. I
Left
think
Door, yeah.
Left Door,
I
right?
think we actually met her at one of the.
Did we meet her at one of the Tiki events?
Yes.
No, at one of the Tiki
Yeah.
events, right? Yeah, but yeah, we love Faith. She's awesome, and yeah, just support crunk cakes. They're tasty. They're yummy. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Right, I have I have my ingredients in front of me. So we start with a 1/4 ounce of passion fruit syrup, and I've talked about the passion fruit syrup in the past. What I've done is I've just done. I believe this is actually I've now forgotten. Oh my gosh, I didn't write it on here. Whether it is 2 to 1 or 1 to 1 sugar and passion fruit concentrate. I think I did 2 to 1 just because I really wanted it to preserve. At 2 to 1, really you're not getting any bacterial growth in there, so you don't have to worry about it getting moldy, which is good. I did taste this earlier. It's fine. You'll be fine. You'll be okay. So we're going to go with a 1/4 ounce of, where is my Leopold? There it is. I guess I don't need the Leopold for this. What am I doing? Wow. Brain
Sorry,
just went.
I confused you by interrupting.
Right. I was ready to go on this cocktail, and then we had a commercial interruption, and I'm like, and we're back from commercial interruption, and I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. Okay, so 1/4 ounce of the passion fruit syrup. There we go. That's it. Drink up. No, just kidding. All right. Then we start to get weird. Because I wanted this to be sort of an homage to Cthulhu, I needed a green color in there. And as it turned out, I needed something that was a lively green. And I could have played around with like blue curacao and some other things in order to get that color. Turns out the thing that worked was Midori. So we're going to go with a 1/2 ounce of Midori. That is a little more than a 1/2 ounce. Okay, so we're going to adulterate. There we go. We're adulterating my poor Zacapa XO with Midori. It's all right. It'll be fine. I'll be fine. It's okay. So we need 1 ounce of a blended rum. And so by blended rum here, so the original drink, the last plane to Jakarta, calls specifically for a multinational blended rum. And the rum that they use in that cocktail is Banks 7-Year. Well, as it just so happens, I now own a bottle of Banks 7-Year. So we're going to go ahead and use that. Now, this is a mixture of Jamaican, Guyana, Java, Trinidad, Guatemalan, Panama, and Barbadian rums. Right, so there's a whole bunch of different rums in here, blended for a sort of consistent flavor. When we did this for Halloween, what I did was I used Pussers, but I used the 15-year-old Pussers, Demerara rum, which is not strictly in keeping with the multinational flavor of this, and it made a perfectly wonderful cocktail, but I'm now in experimental mode since I have a bottle of the Banks 7-Year, so we're going to go with the Banks 7-Year. So here's 1 ounce of the Banks 7-Year. Phil, if it turns out you don't like this, I'll drink it, and then I'll make you another one with the Pussers 15-Year. And then we need 1 ounce of cream sherry. Okay, I have Osborne. I don't know anything about sherry. I really don't. So I have a bottle of Osborne. We're using that. I do like having a bottle of sherry on hand just because it makes things like doing fog cutters possible, which you can't do a fog cutter unless you have sherry. So there you go. What else are we putting in here? 1 teaspoon of Islay Scotch. Normally, when something calls for an Islay Scotch, I go to my wife, who is the purveyor of all of the scotches, and say, "Hun, what can I use?" Well, she was upstairs, so I went ahead and just grabbed the Laphroaig 10. We can get the Laphroaig 10. We like having the Laphroaig 10 on hand. And I really wanted something that was going to up the peat and iodine because we're only putting a teaspoon in. And so I really want that flavor to actually come through. And I need a spoon that, where's my teaspoon? Ah! There's a tablespoon. There's a quarter teaspoon. Wow. Huh. Oh, there it is. It just got washed. That's why. Okay. 1 teaspoon Lafroig 10. Lafroig. It'll all be fine. It'll all be good. So I do think that the Lafroig, particularly with its peaty, I mean, I associate peat and earth with just sort of these old flavors. And so that, for me, works really well with any cocktail that is Elder God, Lovecraftian, kind of decay themed. That seems to be appropriate. And then I put, the original cocktail calls for 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. No, it doesn't. It actually does call for the Mole bitters, and that's right. And I happen to have Bitterman's Mole bitters, and I think this is a really good choice for this cocktail. If you don't happen to have the Mole bitters, because, I mean, unless you're me, why would you? The other thing that you could use would be chocolate bitters, which I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, why would I happen to have chocolate bitters? They're just a little easier to find than the Bitterman's Mole bitters. You won't get quite the same complexity as you will from the Mole bitters, but it's all right. So 2 dashes Mole bitters. And the Bitterman's bitters all come with a dropper, which I like the dropper, except for one thing. As the level of liquid in your bottle goes up and down, it will change the amount that's actually taken up by the dropper. And so you will get kind of inconsistency in the amount of dash that you are getting from this. Okay, so we now have all of the ingredients in here. We've got passion fruit syrup to provide a little sweetness. We've got the Midori to provide a little sweetness and a little brightness with the honeydew melon. We've got the, oh my gosh, how many different nations can possibly contribute a rum to this drink? And then we've got cream sherry, because I guess, sure, why not? And then Islay Scotch to give it those deep, earthy tones that we need, and the Mole bitters to give it that chocolate element to it. Chocolatey heat. I'm going to add some ice to this. And this is going into a glass with a large rock. So I'm just going to put this in a double rocks glass. This is my Appleton Estate double rocks glass. A nice piece of relatively clear ice here. We're just going to drop that right in there. And then we're going to take our mixing spoon and we are just going to twirl this around for about 30 seconds here. So somebody should do a countdown for me because I'm not keeping track. What is 30 seconds? 30 seconds?
1, 7.
Great, thanks, hon.
14.
You're counting by sevens, really?
No, I'm making up numbers.
You're just making up numbers. All right, that's fine. I'm not going to worry about it too much because I can also kind of go by eye. One of the things I noticed earlier, I was watching cocktail videos because that's what I do on Sunday mornings is watch cocktail videos. And I noticed that one of the cocktails that the bartender was making, for the first time I was paying attention to what the wash line, the liquid line was in the mixing pint. And what I noted was that the liquid level just about doubled by the time they were done stirring. So that was giving them the appropriate level of dilution that they wanted for that particular cocktail. And if I look at this, lo and behold, I'm probably right about that point of getting the doubling of the liquid there.
Anders Ericsson.
Anders Ericsson is who we were watching earlier today. And a recommendation from Star, help me out here.
What?
The recommendation to watch Anders came
from Virginia Tea Maven, who was our guest.
Yes, indeed.
Time.
All right. So
David said 10 Frogs is a good Islay choice.
10 Frogs. I don't know 10 Frogs.
Lafroig.
Okay. So julep strainer. Julep strainer is the classic strainer for using for stirred cocktails. You can use a Hawthorne. This just kind of looks cooler. I don't know. You don't have to worry about fine ice chunks. You're not getting the fine ice chunks by stirring. It's just not happening.
Anders is a bartender out of Chicago.
Technically, we looked it up, and he's a bartender. He calls himself a bartender outside of Chicago, or out of Chicago, but he was born in Wisconsin, and his bar, Ward 8, is actually in Evanston, Illinois, which is where Star and I went to undergraduate together. So that's kind of cool. I've also heard really good things about Ward 8, so that's pretty nice. I neglected to put anything down as a garnish for this particular cocktail. So, Phil, when you made this cocktail, so I put all the ingredients together and then gave it to you. Did you garnish it with anything?
I think you provided. I believe you provided mint at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I happen to have some mint here, so we're gonna just throw a little mint in
I felt
there.
like there was something else, but mint. Yeah, it must have been mint.
Was there a dehydrated lime wheel or something? No,
No, that doesn't sound.
I think there was a lime husk.
Was it?
Yeah.
but probably not for this because it
No.
was meant to be
I think
served
I
on a rock.
just put a lot of garnishes in and let people decide what they wanted.
Well, I'm gonna stick a straw in here. I'm gonna taste this.
Yeah, same to you. What's doing?
That really shouldn't work. Phil, here is to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see how that works.
I love it already.
So, I will say that my recollection is that the Pusser's 15 is a little more aggressive rum than the Bank 7. I think that's good, but it maybe needs a little kick up in the rum category.
I'm trying to think how it would compare to
To the
the one I had on Halloween. But I'll say this is really tasty.
Excellent. We got a really tasty. I'm happy with really tasty. All right, so we've done 2 drinks. We've done the Agricole Guava Cooler, nice and refreshing. All of those components seem to work well together. We've got the Last Boat Leaving Raleigh, which all of those ingredients should not work together, but they do. They kind of merge and make something that you... Some cocktails, you put all the ingredients together, and as you're drinking it, you can taste each one of those components. The Last Boat Leaving Raleigh isn't one of those. It's one where the components all come together and form a flavor profile that you wouldn't have suspected from all of those components together, but you're not like tasting, oh, that's the passion fruit. Oh, that's the Midori. It's just this blended, like, it's a single note, but it's a really kind of nice note. I like it. And it comes out the color of sort of brackish water, so that's not bad. Fits that. What you could do, oh, you know what you could do? You could take some, especially like the small mint leaves that I have, like this.
Yeah.
And you could just push those down into the drink as if it was like seaweed in the drink. Oh, so a nice visual image.
Right.
That would be kind of cool, right? And you get a little more mint from that, as opposed to getting the
Amanda
mint on the
has been,
aromatics.
Join the Dave cult.
Oh, yes, smack it, smack that mint, yes. I'm waiting for somebody else to add an ooh baby to that.
I think you just did.
Okay, all right. Amanda, I should point out that your comment apparently has caused the music to stop. Oh my gosh, what happened? You made the comment and everybody went silent. Uh-oh. Do you feel embarrassed now? You shouldn't. There's no embarrassment here on Lovecraft Cocktails. Drink up, enjoy. We have one more to go, which we have about 8 minutes before we hit the 1 hour mark, so I should hurry up and make this. Okay, so this is a drink that became the house drink for probably at least 1.5 years, if not 2 years. So what are we going to do now? We are going to do the Pirate Tink. Okay, we're going to do 2 of these. I am not going to do them both in the same shaker just because I'm worried about volume levels. So we're going to go ahead and do these separately. So what is in here? This is more classic Tiki in that there's a bunch of ingredients that are going in here and a lot of different rums. So I think there's either three or four different rums. There's 3 rums plus absinthe going into this cocktail. So we got a lot of complexity going on with this. And it starts with something that's a little different. Usually if you were thinking that you want a tart, reddish, but still sweet liquid in your cocktails, you're reaching for grenadine. I mean, that is the prototypical, and you better not be reaching for roses, because roses has none of those characteristics except sweet and red. Okay, so it has 2 of the characteristics, which is like 2 out of 4, so 50%. It's kind of almost there, but it has none of that tartness and none of that floral elements that you get from a really good grenadine. But we're not using grenadine. We're going to go with a different red syrupy liquid that has really high tartness and floral notes to it, and that is hibiscus syrup. And I make my hibiscus syrup just by making a rich, simple syrup, and then I take a handful, and literally I just mean a handful of dried hibiscus flowers, and throw them in there, slap a lid on it, and let it sit for 12 to 24 hours. And it comes out this gorgeous, gorgeous red color, and it's very sweet, but it's also very, very tart. And a portion of this goes into my homemade grenadine. So I make the grenadine, and I use part of this in it to hype up the tartness of it. So how much of this do we need? We need a ½ ounce of this. And we're going to go here. Once again, I am going with the thick sweet component first, because then all of the other ingredients that are going into the jigger will help clear that out. Come on. And there's a ½ ounce there. Now, I was watching this guy, Anders, today, and one of the things that he did was he took his jigger and he just set it on his shaker, and mine is just too small to do that, because if I do that, I'm going to lose my jigger into that drink, so I can't do that. Right? He was just setting it on there and letting it is at a slight angle and letting it just drip in while he was opening up the next bottle that he needed to put in there, which I thought was really cool, and it looked really cool. I'm not doing that. Apparently not. Best that I stop before trying to do it and winding up with my jigger in the glass, which would just mess up the whole thing. We don't want the whole sweetness component to be really tart as well, so we're going to back that up with the deep, rich tones of a Demerara syrup. So this is a 2-to-1 Demerara sugar to water. There's no spices or anything else in here, and Demerara syrup or Demerara sugar is another kind of raw. Wow, this speed pour is not the speediest of pourers. Whoa. Part of that may be just how thick my Demerara syrup is. That could be. Could be the air hole is a little clogged. Anyway, so Demerara sugar is, unlike, say, brown sugar in the United States. Whoops. Did you see what I did there? Did you catch that? I need a ½ ounce of this. I just put a full ounce of Demerara sugar in there. This is why you start with your cheapest ingredients, because I can just walk that over and go, nope, sorry, All right, so there's a ½ ounce of Demerara. So I have backup on this. So again, note the advantage here of using your cheap homemade ingredient first before throwing in expensive rum.
Oh, and don't worry, that won't go to waste. He'll make me something once the camera's off with it.
Sure, I guess, whatever. Pull that out of the sink so I remember to do that. Okay. That means, though, that I need hibiscus syrup to go in here. I can tell, because one of these is red and one is not. Okay, so Demerara syrup goes back here. We back up. We put a ½ ounce of hibiscus syrup in the first glass. And then I'm going to go back over ingredients, because I'm sure that was at least mildly confusing for folks. We have put only 2 ingredients in these glasses. We have put a ½ ounce of hibiscus syrup and a ½ ounce of Demerara syrup into each of these. Ignore this glass over here. We're not talking to that glass anymore. All right, so there's the sweet components of this cocktail. And now we can tell we've got this red syrupy goo inside my jigger. I need to clean that out, and I'm going to use lime juice to do that. We need lime juice for these cocktails. We need a ½ ounce of lime juice.
Oh, we have a Colleen.
Hey, Colleen, up there in the Bethesda land. There's a ½ ounce. And a little shy, a little scant on that ½ ounce, and another ½ ounce of lime juice. Fresh squeezed, always fresh squeezed lime juice. And then we're going 2 ounces of pineapple juice. Always use fresh pineapple juice. It's absolutely mandatory for you to use fresh squeezed pineapple juice. Don't. Yeah, okay, I'm bullshitting you. Of course, you can use canned pineapple juice. It's great if you happen to have fresh pineapple juice. It's really awesome. Most bars that I know that go through a lot of pineapple juice, they actually use canned pineapple juice and fresh pineapple juice in about a 1-to-1 measure for each other. And the claim is that it helps make their pineapple juice more consistent from night to night, because pineapples, I mean, one pineapple is sweet, one is not so sweet, you don't know. So pineapple juice is not consistent from pineapple to pineapple. Yep, okay, got the same amount of ingredients in both of those. We're good. And now it's time to add the good stuff. We are getting into the booze. ½ ounce absinthe. A full ½ ounce of absinthe. Usually you see me like spritzing absinthe. Not this case. We're going to go a full ½ ounce of absinthe. And what absinthe are we using? We're using a local distillery. We're using Mount Defiance.
Oh, we have another guest, and we have a question. We have Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl.
Amanda asks, I'm squeezing limes right now.
Yes.
How long does fresh juice last?
Okay. So there's all sorts of myth and legends around lime juice and how long lime juice lasts and when you should use your lime juice. One rule says you should always use absolutely fresh lime juice. Squeeze your lime juice like directly into your jigger. Go from there as fresh as you can. There's another school of thought that says lime juice is actually better if you let it sit for an hour or two before you use it. Everybody seems to agree that you got about 12, maybe 24 hours on your fresh lime juice before it starts not becoming, it doesn't have that brightness that you're looking for. Now, my trick is that if I have a little bit of lime juice left on the evening, like this, well, first of all, I'm going to make at least one more drink using this, so there'd be a little less lime juice in here. But then if I need to make cocktails tomorrow, rather than just chuck that lime juice, I will squeeze a couple more limes and put it in here. And I'll use the old lime juice to just kind of lengthen it out. And I still get the brightness from the original limes, and it's fine. If you hit 48 hours, chuck it. It just doesn't have the same kind of brightness that you want. It starts to get a little more like, plastic squeeze lime. That, yeah, it's got the tartness, but that's about all you get out of it. What am I doing here? I just added the absinthe to both of these, right? Yes, I added the absinthe to both of these. Now we need a ½ ounce of an aged blended rum. Okay, so by aged blended rum, we need something with a minimum of like 3 years on it. We'd ideally like something that is, well, because it specifies blended, we would like both column and pot still rums combined into it. If you really want to be fancy, you can do something that crosses different nationalities. So we could go with the banks and just use the banks. It's already open, might as well, right? Sure, we could also use the Denizen. I've got the Denizen 8-year, the Merchant's Reserve, but I really like that, using that for Mai Tais. How about this? We will do this. Because I don't know what the flavor profiles are going to be and how different they're going to be mixed with these ingredients, I think I'm going to make one with the banks and I'm going to make one with the Denizen, and we'll just compare.
Yeah,
because
sounds
I can do that. I have the rum. I can do that. ½ ounce banks. We're going to put the banks over here on the left-hand side of the bar to indicate the left-hand side is made with banks. The right-hand side, we are going to go with the Denizen 8-year. You can tell I audibled this because there's no speed pourer on the Denizen. Thank you to my lovely wife who reminded me this evening to put speed pourers on all of the bottles I was using. Half-ounce Denizen. Now, what will be really interesting will be if you can't really tell the difference between these two cocktails, then it's going to tell you, okay, we use whichever one of these is less expensive. That may be the fact. That may be the case. Oh, this goes over here, so I know that the Denizen is on the right-hand side. Then we need a half-ounce of a black rum. Now, previously, when making these, I used the Pampero Anniversario. I still like that, but the Pampero is way up there and away from me, and I happen to have this wonderful rum, the Dark Rougarou Full Moon rum from New Orleans. I really like this. I like this rum. There's a number of rums that are produced in Louisiana, and Louisiana is one of the few states that actually produces sugarcane in any large quantity anymore, which is really nice to know. I was like, wait, was I supposed to put that in? Yes, we have half-ounce of this going in both of these. Okay. We're not done with rums, but the last rum is going in at the end. So I'm just going to hold up on that. Guru goes there. So we are going to shake these with some crushed ice, or not crushed ice, I'm sorry. We're going to shake these with some cubed ice, but they're going to go in glasses with some crushed ice in them. So first up, we're going to dump some ice in there. Here. We do want to make sure that these are comparable to one another, so we're hoping to get pretty close to the same amount of ice in these. It looks pretty good. We're on target this evening. Woohoo! Anything else go in here? Hibiscus syrup, demerara syrup, lime juice, pineapple, absinthe, aged blended rum, and black rum. Nope, we're good. Got it all. I have blackberries here. I could throw those in. No, stop that. All right, so we're going to just shake this up. Look, some hibiscus syrup. Like blood rivulets running down here. So we're going to have to make sure we get this shaken nicely. Yes, I've totally slacked on this whole making sure that I am shaking perpendicular to the screen. Sue me. Someday I will pay for it because I'm going to throw cocktails all over my computer. That will be bad. Okay, what is this going in? This is going in cocktail mug. Star. Do you want your mug to be the Denizen or the Banks? Whoops.
Thanks.
Banks! Okay. So that means this mug here, is going to be the one that we put the Denizen in. All right, so I need to strain this. No need to double strain this. We are going to mix it with crushed ice. There's no real need to double strain. If you get some minor ice chunks from this in there, ooh, I'm mixing it with crushed ice. Then you're on. All right, so that's good. Then we're going to do the same over here. Okay, fine. There. Happy? Nice, icy cold. That. Those go in the sink.
So Amanda's like,
Strain this.
seriously? 2 days? Uh-oh, I just squeezed a bag full of them.
That's fine. Just drink a lot.
You can use it after 2 days.
Oh,
It's just not
absolutely.
as
It's
fresh.
just not as fresh. So, dear lovely wife,
Yes.
our cocktails are not going to be comparable because your mug is just a little smaller. I don't have a whole lot of room to put crushed ice in there.
Ah.
I'm just saying. All right, so whereas in this mug, like, hello, hello down there. I have plenty of room for crushed ice. All right. Well, so I'm going to do a scant scoop. Scant scoop. Throw that in here. How are we doing? Oh, that's going to be close. Okay, I'm going to have to do the same with the other mug. It's just going to all disappear here.
Amanda just finished watching a show called Queen Sugar about a black-owned sugar cane farm
Sugar.
in New Orleans.
I've heard good things about Queen Sugar. So I believe I said there were 3 kinds of rum in this drink, and I've only put 2 in there. Wow, this Agricole cooler is still quite tasty. The last thing that goes in here is a little bit of 151 Demerara rum. Now, my traditional garnish for this, I usually serve this in a double rocks glass. And my traditional garnish is I take a straw and I shove the straw through a lime wheel like this. And then I just float the Demerara rum over the lime. Star's mug is not going to allow me to do that because Star's mug has this clever little cap on it. Note, it looks like a Chinese takeout box. Isn't that cute?
Exactly what it looked like.
Which is just awesome. I love this mug. It's so great. This is from the same folk that do Mai Tai Till I Die, which is Black Lagoon Room. Yes, they do. Black Lagoon Room is so much fun. They do great things. There's at least one Black Lagoon Room pin on my hat. Over here, there's a monster holding a zombie glass. So we're not going to do that in terms of the decor because we have to stick the lime isn't going to go in the drink. I don't have room for it. We're going to do a quarter, babble, 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 babble. Quarter ounce, 151 Demerara rum. We are going to go ahead and use the Hamilton 151. So normally when a recipe calls for a 151, Demerara 151, they are actually calling for this. They are calling for the Lemon Heart 151. This is the 151 which is called out by name in almost any of the classic drinks that require 151. You will see them call Lemon Heart out by name. Lemon Heart and Sons elected at some point to stop producing this. And Ed Hamilton of Hamilton Ministry of Rums said, oh no, we can't have this, and started having this bottled for his company, which is a Guyana Demerara River 151, and this took the place of the Lemon Heart for a couple of years before Lemon Heart and Sons wised up and started making their 151 again. So we're going to go ahead and use this in honor of Ed Hamilton, who continues to contribute greatly to the rum world. And I have only had 1 bottle of rum from the Hamilton bottlings that I was not overly impressed with. It was fine. I still have it, but I'm just not. It just wasn't as like ooh yummy yummy as the others. So we got a quarter ounce, by the way, of this 151. It is surprisingly both Lemon Heart. Oh. Happy place. Oh, that's so good. You just spill a little on your finger and then you gotta stick it in your mouth and just back. Oh, good stuff. Don't do that if you're running a professional bar. That looks gross. Okay. What was I saying? Lemon Heart, 151. I don't know. No clue. All right, so that goes on here. The lid for this actually has a single hole over here for a straw. And then it has 2 other holes here to put garnishes like swizzle sticks and umbrellas and that sort of thing. So you've got this kind of creature that's spilling over the top that you could put a nice little umbrella behind his head or something along those lines, which is just clever and cute. I can't actually use the glass straws from Surfside Sips because they don't fit through that particular hole. But what I can do is go ahead and use these metal straws that I have and do the same thing that I would normally do, which is just put the lime wheel there And then that goes right in here, just like that. I can do the same thing here. I'm not sure how well this is going to work because there's hello down there. I mean, it's like this glass is half full, maybe. So that goes in here. Straws disappearing into the mug. So slime wheel, bye! We should probably throw some mint in this just because we can. The nice thing about, like I said, the creature from the Black Lagoon is that you do have the ability to just stick these little mint leaves right here, which is really nice because what you wanted, they're not just adding attractiveness. They're adding an aromatic component to the cocktail. And so if you were able to get your straw over by the mint leaves, so in order for the person to take a drink, their nose has to kind of dig down into the mint leaves, then they're really getting a snootful of the mint, and that really works, which is going to be great for this glass and totally isn't going to work for this glass at all. So we're going to throw a little more mint in this other glass. Besides, some of this mint is getting a little old, so I need to use that. My wife did run out and get me some fresh mint before the show started, but there was still some older mint in here, and that's what I'm trying to use up here. Okay, so, Hun,
Yeah.
this is
Very
yours. Yes, it's very full. Be careful. That. And, yep, isn't that cute? Look at that little eyeball looking over there. Phil,
Oh,
I'll take
really?
it over.
take that over.
I had my eye on you. Thank you.
Sure. And what I may want to do is stick a straw in there and taste both of those, but
Mhm.
or you may want to swap and
Yeah.
see. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about doing that. Maybe. Yeah.
This is a beauty. I love this.
Oh, is that good?
And you're drinking the Banks?
Yes.
Okay. Star's drinking the Banks. She thinks the Banks is really pretty awesome.
This is good. Very, very.
It feels like I can't get the straw down in there. Would you like a deeper
No,
straw?
it's working well.
Okay. Would you like? If you want a deeper straw, please. We have them.
It tastes like black licorice,
Yeah.
What's the
Which I-
absinthe?
which I absolutely love. Is that big? I didn't.
Yeah. So the absinthe is going to give you that anise flavor, and then it's backed up by the 151.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. Very tasty.
Okay. So you've had a taste of both. What do you think? Is there a difference? Can you tell a difference between them?
What do you think? I didn't really taste.
So
Well, I didn't
the
want to be picky with
Banks
stars, so.
holds up to the absinthe better.
You think?
I think so.
It went off the menu for a while. I think we may have to bring it back. I think this
I'm
is.
all for it.
Um,
A lot of
I'll
body
bring
to it.
up and let you have a taste of mine, and then Phil can bring up and let you have a
Yeah,
taste
sure.
of his.
okay.
There
Yeah,
we go.
Let's do it.
I can do this too. I can just. What the heck?
You can
here?
drink out of
I can
mine.
drink
That's
out of it.
fine.
Yeah, same with me. Here you go.
Oh, if you don't like black licorice, though, I will say you would hate these. You gotta like black licorice.
Yes.
I love black.
Um,
Reminds
not-
me of what Jerry Garcia has to say about the Grateful Dead.
Which
Okay.
is?
Which
nothing
is-
now. He's dead.
It's well, so is Plato, but we still quote him. The Grateful Dead is a lot like licorice. People who like licorice really like licorice. I really like licorice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is. Those are very, very similar.
They are very similar.
I think I actually disagree with Star, though. I
Okay.
think I like the Denizen a little more. I think there's a what I think Star perceives as the overwhelming licorice. I get kind of a more nuanced
Mhm.
licorice flavor from the Denizen,
This
whereas
is what I have as the Denizen?
is the
Okay.
Denizen. Whereas with Star, the Banks I think cuts into the licorice flavor, but it's a single licorice flavor. It really is. If you like black licorice, you will like this cocktail.
I
I there is a part of me that thinks that this needs a little bit of tweaking to make it just slightly more complex and less overpoweringly black licorice. I mean, I really like that flavor, um, but maybe swapping out, say, the black rum with an overproof Jamaican to add that funk characteristic to it and kind of up the alcohol flavor. That might work. That might be a thing to try. But we're not going to do that tonight because we're already, oh my gosh, we're like 20 minutes over. So, hi, folks. I'm glad you stuck with us through this evening. Wow. Those are good. The Pirate Tink is a good cocktail, but like I said, you gotta love the black licorice for that. Wow, there's only a quarter ounce of the 151 in there, but it really serves to accentuate the absinthe. They reinforce each other, and it's just really, really nice. The absinthe, the green fairy. What? Whoa, we have a hand up. You know that one of the people that we watch on YouTube is Greg, whose last name I never can remember, who hosts How to Drink, amongst other things. The only thing we watch is How to Drink. Sorry, Greg. We only have so many hours in the day. We love his show. It's been fun watching it evolve over the last 4 or 5 years. We caught the episode where you did a tasting of mezcal 2 days ago. I found it really funny. I also found it kind of sad that people were going, Greg, you're looking tired. And you were like, of course I'm tired. I got 2 kids. It's pandemic. I'm exhausted. I need a vacation. So keep watching the show. That's Greg for you. But Greg has started a partnership with a company that delivers alcohol. And they now deliver to 30 different states in the union. So 30 out of the 50 states, which covers like high 70s, low 80s percentage of the population of the United States. And we've checked out their collection, and they have a pretty nice selection of alcohols available for delivery, for mail to your door. Looking at you folks that live out in rural wherever, and so you can get alcohol that you can't get from your local store delivered right to you. And that company is called Curiada, and that is Curiada. But it's a really nice way to get your hands on alcohol that you can't otherwise get. Sadly, it is not available to all of my fans that happen to be watching from Northern Virginia. And I don't think Maryland is available either. So neither Maryland nor Virginia. But the flip side of that is that both Maryland and Southern Maryland and Northern Virginia have access to Washington, D.C., so we can get just about whatever we want. But places like California, there are people that we know that live in rural California that can get good booze delivered to them, booze that they may not be able to get or would have to go, make a day to drive into the big city of Sacramento or wherever the big city might be. Kansas. I remember a day when Kansas was a dry state. Wow. That was a long time ago. They've gotten better.
It was a club state.
Yeah, okay. Star is correcting me that they were a club state, which meant that you had to be a member of a private club in order to drink at that particular club. Now, you could buy a membership as you walked in the door. So, yeah, but
like a speakeasy or something.
And then there was Oklahoma. I remember a visit to Oklahoma with my parents where my parents ordered cocktails and the waiter told them, because he had handed them the cocktail menu, Dad and Mom were both taken aback because they thought Oklahoma was strictly dry. And the waiter said, well, I will take these back to the bar and I will see. But here's the deal. We got raided last week and we haven't gotten all of our liquor back from the police yet. So we don't know what all we can and cannot make. So apparently there was this nice cozy relationship where the police would do due diligence and come in and raid them periodically. And they would pay some sort of fine and then they would get all of their alcohol back. And, so they're playing the games, even though it was a dry state per se. So all sorts of fun and games. If you ever want a fun read of U.S. history, there are a number of books out there that look at U.S. history through liquor laws and liquor taxation and how liquor has fundamentally altered sort of the fundamentals of the United States history. And it's really kind of fascinating. And we don't have time to go into that now because now I'm almost a half hour late. But there's a hand up, so I can't get off screen yet. I got to answer a question.
Can I freeze my lime juice?
Can you freeze your lime juice? I don't know whether you can freeze your lime juice or not. I have not frozen lime juice. I have frozen limes and then unfrozen the lime. Defrosted. Unfrozen the limes? Okay. Defrosted the
I
lime
like that too.
and then pressed the lime to get the juice out. That juice, I don't care what anybody else says, that juice was not as good as fresh squeezed limes. However, you get more juice out because the water crystals form, they break the cell structure on the interior of the lime. So when it defrosts, there's more liquid in the lime, but it's not as good. So I don't know whether or not the unfrozen, the defrosted lime juice would be as good as fresh lime juice. I would say you absolutely should not defrost it and then go, oh, I didn't use all of it, and then refreeze it again and do that over and over. I'm sure that that's not going to be good. But if you squeezed more lime juice than you're going to use in the next 24 to 48 hours, then sure, why not? Split it in half, freeze some of it, and then do a taste comparison at some point and go, this is what the frozen tastes like. This is what the fresh tastes like. Hey, it may be that for a person's palate, there's no difference. In which case, why not go ahead and freeze it? There may be super tasters out there that are like, oh, yes, of course I can taste the difference between this. But if you're not one of them, what's the worry, right? I mean, I'm not sure I can tell the difference. I've never done that particular test before, so I have no empirical evidence. Let us know. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Give us the empirical evidence. I'm sure that Dave Arnold, author of Liquid Intelligence, has something to say on that regard, but I honestly don't remember what it is. And it's been a while since I've read through Liquid Intelligence, which is a great book, by the way. Read, if you're interested in the science of cocktails, read Dave Arnold's Liquid Intelligence. It is Alton Brown for cocktails. But I'd like to thank our guests this evening, Phil, for coming by.
Thank you.
And suggesting The Last Boat, leaving Riley. It's been a while since I've made them. I really liked the pirate Tink as the end note for that. I think that really worked well. And the Agricole cooler to start things off, I think would have been a better drink if it had remained as warm and hot as it had been. Hope you've enjoyed the music. Hope you've enjoyed the conversation. Hope you've enjoyed whatever you happen to be drinking this evening while we were making cocktails. And if you're local, think about coming to visit and dropping by and being part of the studio audience.
Amanda and Colleen next week.
Oh, cool. And if you're not local, we have guest room space. Think about coming by and stopping by and, mask mandate notwithstanding, as long as you're vaccinated, we'd love to have you. It's been a year. We deserve to have some fun. And, extra special note, yeah, we're going to have a summer tiki party. We are.